let's get into it. As always, I'll make this quick, clean, and easy and go over my pre-market game plan going into tomorrow. So, in my last educational video, I mentioned, knowing the pros and cons to your system. And right now, to my system, the break and retest, we're in con conditions. So, you always hear me say that one of the hardest things for most new traders to do is show up and do absolutely nothing. And we've been doing really good doing that, doing nothing. Very slow start to the month. This week started with a cash day, but I understand the market conditions. I know what I'm looking at, and I'll break that down a little bit more thoroughly. Last week out of 5 trading days, I've only had 3 trading days. Today's a Monday, and we have FOMC this week on a Wednesday, which is in the middle of the week. So we can expect low volume, low volatility, maybe some elevated IV until, the Fed speak on Wednesday. So I understand market conditions. I'm patient. I'm not coming into the market looking for a trade, chasing a trade. There are no setups right now across the overall market. I'll get into that. A couple here on maybe 2 tech names, but I understand market conditions. There's really nothing going on. And, I mentioned this, the market comes in seasons. November was hot. November was very hot. We were taking trades pretty much every day. Besides the last week of November, obviously, right, we had a half day. The market was closed on Thanksgiving. But leading up to that, every day, just straight upside. So we got to understand, like right now, the market's in a channel, it's consolidation. And if the overall market is sitting in a channel, we can expect a lot of these other tech names to sit in a channel. So I'll start off here with the SPY. What do you notice? It's in a channel. These are daily candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 days. So pretty much now, 2 trading weeks. We've just been stuck in between 685 and 678. There's no setups here. There's nothing going on. We're definitely looking for a break and retest over 685.80. That looked really promising on Friday. It ended up being a squeeze. It ended up being a bull trap. Wicks do the damage. Body tells the story. And now we're back today in the middle of the channel. So this is something I kind of noticed here. We won't know until we know, but history likes to repeat itself. What did we do last time we made all-time highs? We sold off. We pushed up again so far, we're rejecting that. So we won't know until we know. But until then, we're bullish bias on this overall market. So for SPY, I'm looking for, a break and retest over 685.25 or a pullback long off of 678.45. Qs, pretty much same thing here. Nothing going on the Qs. Qs is a little bit behind on the overall market. Our 624.50 did its job today, which to the damage body tells the story. So 2 days in a row, pretty much an inside bar day. But, right, we avoided this channel. I want to see this channel turn into support. We kind of got that hold today. Good little bear trap, right? Squeeze people out of their positions for a loss. Buyer stepped up very aggressively here, pushing this thing higher. But, there's nothing going on here. This is very, solid. I'm looking for that, a pullback long off of 624.50. Like I just said, I want to see this channel turn into support. And then, of course, A plus setup is over 629.05. This is our last key level before seeing all-time highs. So we just got to be patient here. But like I said, we got FOMC on Wednesday, so I'm not really expecting too much until then. But, my job as a trader is to react and not predict. IWM, another name here. I'll go here on the 15-minute. You can see, just sitting sideways. Just sitting sideways. A lot of these names, push up into all-time highs. We can't expect, consolidation or, rejections. History likes to repeat itself. So we still haven't made a new all-time high here on IWM. But, right, 3 days, just kind of doing that. We got this was the A-plus shot. Keep telling people, the A-plus setups are at the bottom of the range. The A-plus setups don't look like an A-plus setup. This was a weekly level breaker structure. We're bullish bias, so you're really just looking for this at this point. You can definitely look for that or break and retest over this, but now you're getting in at the top of the range. The A-plus shot was, at 248.55. So I would kind of just wait for that. So if you're looking to trade this name, you can clearly see, we're bullish bias on this name. But, right, we pushed up, sold off, pushed up 2 days in a row. We're kind of pulling back a little bit, but not too much. It's holding up. You can see 2 days in a row, inside bar day. So really not much going on IWM as well. Like I said, a lot of things that probably occur after FOMC, but you can look for a break and retest over 252.75. Remember, wait for displacement so you can avoid getting faked out. But this was really the A-plus shot. That set up beautifully. That set up beautifully last week. So you can look for a pullback long off of 248.55. Tesla, I know the pros and cons to my system. So there's nothing for me on Tesla until we get over 466.50 or a pullback long off of 410. We're bullish bias on this name. But I avoid channels. We're just literally sitting in the middle of a channel. So this is our A-plus shot here. Nothing in this way to all-time highs. Of course, if we're over 410, we're bullish bias. So I'll be looking for a pullback long off of 410. And then if we break under 410, we're bearish bias. But until then, as long as Tesla in between 466 and 410, I'm not touching anything. We're just sitting sideways in the middle of a channel. That's a low probability environment. So nothing for me there on Tesla. Like I said, a lot of these names, on these tech names, there's really nothing going on. Apple. So Apple looks good. This was off the pre-market game plan today. For the Discord and I, we were looking for either a pullback long off of 279 or a pullback long off of 275.90. You can see not a deep enough pullback, but towards power hour, buyers ended up stepping in. But I'm explaining, to folks, this is normal. All you got to do is look left. Apple was, bullish and closing green for 7 days in a row. These are daily candles, 7 days, just straight upside. This is normal. For the longest, you've been hearing me say, when it comes to Apple, On the daily time frame, on the technical analysis side, this chart looks the absolute cleanest. It just looks the absolute cleanest. We know this is a key level. What do we do today? Pull back here. So if you took the shot, right, risking right off of 275.90, beautiful. So looking for this. For me, my A plus shot on Apple is just going to be over 279 for obvious reasons, because it's just a clear RR trade. There's nothing in its way. There's nothing in its way if we can get a break and retest over 279. But like I said, really nothing going on right now. Apple's just pulling back. We just went on a crazy rip. This is healthy, right? It can't run forever. Can't run forever. So if we can run straight to the upside and close, bullish green for 7 days in a row, we can expect a couple of pullback daily red candles a couple of days in a row. That is 100% normal. AMD, right? There's nothing going on here. Hope you're starting to pick up on these things across the market. Just very slow. So I let my trades come to me, right? As soon as we get over 225, I'm bullish bias on this name. This is the dip buy before we get back to the top of the range. So I'm watching this here. We can clearly see this 225 weekly level is being respected as resistance on the dot. Like I said, in between 225 and 203, I'm neutral. I'm not bullish bias or bearish bias. We're just sitting in a channel. So I'm either looking for this, I'm looking for that. And if we fall under, 203, I'm bearish bias. I'm bearish bias. We cannot forget, this is more than a $30 gap fill to the downside. So, in between 225, 203, that's just now my no trade zone. You can see not the best price action in there. We're just sitting sideways. Look at that. These are low probability environments. So why do I want to take a trade in here? There's nothing in here for me. So I will be looking for that tomorrow. Netflix, bearish bias. I did my job, right? I found a key level here. It's getting respected on the dot, this 95.50. Since we are trending now to the downside on the weekly, on the daily, I'm bearish biased on Netflix. So I'm looking for a short off of 99 or break and retest off of 95. Beautiful, right? This is weekly level. I love the confluence here with it being the previous day low. Our key levels are drawn out before market opens. So to see buyer step up and push this thing higher, that is exactly what I want to see. That's what I want to see. So I'm willing to put on risk on this trade. I love that. Nothing in its way to the downside. Big RR trade here. So break and retest under 95 tomorrow, or a pullback long off of 99.9 tomorrow as well. And then NVIDIA. So, right, this quarter now, we did a really good job. Today was a really great lesson. We did a really good job avoiding a fake out. We did a really good job of holding our water. You guys know 184.50, that's my key level here to go long. But I was able, right, to spot the divergence between, NVIDIA and Qs. The context matters. There's a difference between skipping a trade and missing a trade. So we ended up skipping this trade, which was beautiful. It just ended up being a bull trap, and we had that sell-off. I was looking for another opportunity here. We got that sell-off, and then there's so much built-up liquidity at this key level, right? The blow-off top, I called that this morning, right, in the Discord. The blow-off top is not a surprise. This is a weekly level, a lot of rejections. That's a lot of built-up liquidity. So I'm not surprised to see a blow-off top here. So coming into tomorrow, if it sets up, I'm just looking for a pullback long off of 184, right? This is okay. This is okay. The daily candle closed at 185.74. So not the biggest displacement for me on a daily candle. So tomorrow I'm just going to be patient, hold my water, and hopefully, right, get a pullback here. We'll see what happens. We do have FOMC this week, so be sure to check your IV before you take a trade, because if this sets up on NVIDIA and my IV is high, I'm not taking that trade. I'm not going to force it. But finally, just look on the daily here. I avoid channels. This is our no trade zone. We're going to break out of the side of the channel. Remember, this is a lot of thin volume. Straight up equals straight down. So I'm looking for a pullback long off of 184, or I'm just planning break and retest over 190.10. If we fall under 184, obviously hands off. But this is a big move. You can kind of see the divergence here, compared to the overall market. Just read the IV. Read the IV. Keep in mind, the educational video I just gave you, I told you certain conditions where the IV is elevated. FOMC is one of them. Obviously, earnings is one of them. So, right, we are risk managers before we are traders. And that is pretty much it, overall on these tech names. But, be patient. I know when to press on the gas and when not to. And there's not a lot going on, around the market. The overall market is in a channel, so we can expect, the same from a lot of these names. Look at AMD. There's nothing going on, just in a channel. Look at Apple, right? Finally getting the pullback here, but really nothing going on the last couple of days. Really for a while now. Remember, we got the breakout here over 279. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of really just nothing going on Apple. We're just waiting for our trade. NVIDIA, obviously, right? We took our shot last Tuesday. It was a winning trade. But prior to that, nothing going on. And after that, nothing going on. We're finally starting to get this breakout over 184, but under 184, there's been nothing going on. Tesla, dead smack, middle of the range, nothing going on. Qs, right? Stuck in a channel all of last week. Nothing going on. Today, inside bar day, we get a pullback. We ended up holding, but we're still stuck in a channel, nothing going on. And then SPY, right? In between 685 and 678, nothing going on. The overall market's in a channel. So go watch the educational video on no trade zones. I'm very patient. I can sit for 4 days, for 5 days. And, this is what I mean when I say patient pays, because when you don't take a trade and your trade sets up, and when it sets up, it pays you very well. You realize that you get paid when you take less trades. We take high probability setups only. Yes, the market is bullish. We're trending, but we got to understand the conditions. And right now is not the conditions to be stepping on the gas. Not at all. So the only tech name that really looks pretty solid, trending wise, is Netflix. and it's trending to the downside. We are bearish bias on this name. This was actually on the close watch list for us today. Our analysis was correct, just didn't get a retest. We were looking for a break and retest under 99. We got the break today, never got the retest, but today was a good day, right? So that's 2 days in a row. Friday and today, just cash. Cash is a position. Like I said, I'm not expecting too much to go on until after FOMC. Um, right, the market, this I really wanted to see SPY, pull back and hold above the 685 just for the sake of market structure, just because if we hold this, at least we're not back in this range. But you can clearly see we're just back stuck in the range. A little bit of a heavy day today. We clearly fell under the previous day low. So just be patient, understand market conditions, patient pace. We sit on our hands, we wait for our trades to come to us, and we take our highest probability shots. So hope this helps. I will see you guys on the next one.